Hey everybody, welcome to Mario at exactly 40, part like a million. All we have left of Super Mario 3D World is Champions Road, which is a very challenging stage. Where am I, World 1? I might as well go get some cat bells, huh? Before I go back. So I spent a bunch of time last time getting extra lives. So I think I have 1,100 lives at the moment. Seems like it should be a pretty good amount. I was gonna get 1,000 and then just be like, well, I'll take 1,000 shots at this level, and if I don't make it, I'm done. But then at the same time, I was like, if I take 1,000 shots and I don't finish it, can I give up then? Oh, Poonmaster Flex said that would be pathetic. I wouldn't call it pathetic. I would call it meeting expectations. She disagrees. She didn't say it. Well, she said, It wasn't disagreement on the level of, oh no, you're wrong, you're right, whatever. It was like, sure we will. Sure we will, Mr. Homa. Sure we will. I could have swore one of these had a bell in it. Only one in the whole stage? How do I break these? I want to break these. Whoa! There's got to be another bell around here somewhere. Aha! It's like one of 2 trees in the entire game that's important to climb up. There's a cat living in our, in or around our apartment, who's a tuxedo cat that we've named Bill Tuxtable. But maybe renamed Theo Tuxtable. Or Claire. Because, you know, Bill. Not the most beloved figure. For good reason. He was out yesterday, even though it's freezing. Poonmaster Flex says if he ate Jell-O, he'd have to be Bill. Which is, I agree. Look, there'd be nothing we could do about it. You want to see how difficult this level is? It is pretty. You can run across those. The gaps are narrow enough. Okay.
This is awful.
Ah!
Oh, you made me watch him die.
I made you watch the cat die?
Yeah.
Well, get ready for a lot of death. I'm not a cat anymore. I died already. This is a really hard stage. Those weren't even the, like, really hard parts that you saw. I wish I knew how long I had played the last stage of Mario Galaxy 2, the perfect run. Because that's probably the most comparable thing I can think of to this. Okay, here we go. Oof. Okay. This is when it gets really hard. Oh, shit! 3 lives down. I watched a speedrunner play this level because, you know, on my YouTube algorithm is like, oh, so you like Mario 3D World, huh? And I watched this guy and he was like, oh, everybody's like, oh, this is the hardest level ever and blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. And then it was like a hard cut of 2.5 hours later and he finally finished it. So that made me feel a little better. I've probably already spent that much time. But I mean, this was like a Mario expert as opposed to a, you know, dilettante like myself. Dilettante. No! It would be fun to make it... Well, it wouldn't be fun to make. It would be fun to view a supercut of me dying. And just cut together all the places when I died in the same place. I know, like, when you play a Mario Maker level, it'll show you, you know, where all the different spots people have died. There'd definitely be some clustered things. It looks... I think this level would almost just be a continuous stream of markers of death spots. No, God! But yeah, I'm sticking to my original plan of like, I'll play this for about an hour at a clip, see what I can do. That seems like the correct way to try and practice this. Because I feel like an hour, I feel not incredibly frustrated yet. Oh, God! Struggling with this part. Struggling. Whew. Okay, I made it. Okay. Yes! Okay. No! That's the one where you gotta go back. A lot of the people I've seen do this don't take the pipe. They jump on the pipe and go over. Oh. That feels like tempting fate for me, though. I know that I would die if I did that enough times. It's like, I don't need to introduce another opportunity to die, probably. There are certain things that I do probably not the best way, because it's a little speedier, but they're like obstacles that you have to overcome. So it's not like you can just skip them. And that's an obstacle that I can just skip if I, you know, do it the way I do it. Oh, man. So close. So close. Ugh. These little bastards keep shooting these cannonballs at me. You know what I could probably do is, if I'm like struggling at those colored blocks that go back and forth from appearing to disappearing, I feel like I could wall jump, and then if I did a butt stomp, it would give me like just a tiny little extra beat of time to be in the air. All right. I think what you want to avoid is jumping on their head. That just makes everything too unpredictable. Ah, damn it! Just trying to take a drink and this guy can't give me a break for 2 seconds. These guys really set the tone early of like, guess what? Guess what this stage is gonna be. If there's any chance that if you kill these guys, you get something. Fire flower. There's no chance. There is no chance of that. Established. That's just an accidental button press. I should have, in that first stage, when I was like, I'll get a couple cat bells, been like, let me practice and figure out how to do this dive roll versus the long jump. No! It's like that gap too. I don't know if you can wall kick off of it very easy between the two small things, or if you can at all. It's almost like the clear pipe. If you go through the clear pipe, you know, you're not like one of the cool kids. But you know what? I'm a mature adult. I don't need to be cool. I don't need other people to think I'm cool. And like at this point, I don't think I'm going to trick anyone into thinking I'm good at Mario by doing that. If you've been watching this, you know how good at Mario I am. Which is not. It just feels like you can make it, even though you probably can't. Ah! Does there need to be that many of them? I feel like half as many of those guys would be plenty to, you know, ruin my day. I'm suspicious that Chargin' Chuck has been juicing. He seems a lot bigger than he was in Mario World. Whew. This is the funny thing too, is I thought about, you know, when you eventually make it, because like a level like this, you have to be close to perfect to even succeed, right? And I was like, it's kind of belies the difficulty of it, because when you finally make it, it doesn't look that hard because you've made it. But then I thought about my personal play style and was like, I don't think that's going to be an issue for me, that it's going to look like I didn't struggle. Because I think it's going to look like that just looked, where I'm like going back and forth and barely land on the thing. Or like this happens, you know. I don't think I'm going to get like a clean run. Even that jump onto this last tier is like kind of trickery. Because it's like, it's trying to make you think that you know, you can just run, but you can easily just run off the backside there. Okay. Okay. Maybe that should be my method. Go straight through, go off the wall, and try and make it back on. Alright. So this is the first time we've gotten this far today. Okay. Instantly got hit. Oh! Alright. This is pretty far for me. Oh, shit. And then back at the beginning. Maybe I should try and figure out this football thing a little better. This whole football thing. Like, maybe you have to just be on one of the furthest, you know, things to just run through and avoid him. Or maybe this guy if you're, like, on... Yeah. You think if you're right in the middle, you can just stay? That seems like a risky thing to try. God. Whatever. You know what? Whatever. So anyway, we're assuming Bill Tuxtable is happy and warm today. He's probably got a warm place to live. Fudge. I didn't want to do that. Okay, this seems to be a better way to go about it. Try and stay on the furthest out block. You can't run past him if you're, like, too close to him. But if you're not close, you can do it. Alright, so I'm going to go up. Then I'm going to double. Then I'm going to double and try and bounce off the wall. Yes! These guys not easy to hit. It's sort of like this stage 2, each thing. You have to just be used to... Like, when you do it right, you just barely make it. You know what I mean? It's not like when you do it right, you're like, okay, that felt pretty good. It's like, no, I barely made it. Because I'm thinking about this wall jump tactic that I have on the color changing blocks, and it's like, is that the best way? Is it super reliable? Because it feels like I'm barely making it. But I think barely making it is kind of the way this works. Well, I went to the dentist this week, which is always like a dreaded time for me, because I've spent, starting in my early 20s, I had dental insurance for the first time, and I have spent a lot of time in dentists and orthodontists' office since then. So I'm always waiting for, when I go in. It's been a long time since I've had any, bad stuff at the dentist. But it just makes me feel like it's coming, And so I'm in the dentist's office, and they have, a new office. So they've got, a TV on the ceiling, which is, showing... They used to show HGTV and then, nature documentaries a lot. And now what they show is just YouTube drone footage of, Hawaii. And I was like, I think they should be showing, A&E documentary or a History Channel documentary about a torture dungeon. Because when I'm looking at Hawaii, I'm like, I would rather be there than here. I'm not a big beach guy, but compared to the dentist, I'll take it. Of course. Who wouldn't? Whereas if it was a torture dungeon, it would be could be worse. That's not somewhere I'd rather be. So I don't really understand the idea behind showing you somewhere way better. It just, I don't know, that seems backwards to me. And it's always weird because they offer you, you get the polish put on at the end, and they offer you flavors. And they always have, some fucked up flavor. And I go back and forth. Every time I go in, I just end up taking mint. Because I'm I don't know, whatever. I don't want pina colada or something. But then sometimes I'm maybe you should live a little and just take the weirdest flavor. Be like, what's your least popular flavor? And it'll always be, they always have a flavor that's cookie dough. And I'm this is kind of a mixed message from the dentist about what I should be putting on my teeth. But also, I'm if you can make a tooth polish that tastes like cookie dough, how come you can't make a celery that tastes like cookie dough? You know what I mean? How come a Brussels sprout can't taste like cookie dough? How come a power bar that is flavored like cookie dough can't taste like cookie dough? That doesn't seem like that far of a stretch to me. But I guess I don't know. The big piece of missing information for me is, how much does the tooth polish that tastes like cookie dough taste like cookie dough? I have a feeling not a lot. I mean, I've never well, I guess I've had mint tea, right? That's probably the closest I've come to eating just raw mint. And that doesn't really taste like a mint. Certainly doesn't taste like a peppermint or an Andes mint or something. So it could be that cookie dough, but then cookie dough isn't just something you find clumps of in nature. So it's not well, compared to, people always say this about cinnamon, right? It's cinnamon the spice and cinnamon the candy flavor don't really taste that much alike. And I'm yeah, that's fine. Or cherries, cherry candy and cherry. There's no bigger disappointment in the life of a child than eating a cherry for the first time. Because you're oh, hell yeah, this is going to taste amazing. Because cherry's the king of candy flavors. And then you eat a cherry and you're this tastes like shit. And it's got a seed in it. This is horrible. Watermelon at least doesn't really taste like watermelon candy, but it's good. So you're all right, I'll give it a pass, or a strawberry or something. But a cherry, I'm like, this is a very like sophisticated adult flavor. And I kind of just want to eat a Jolly Rancher. So it's a little weird at the dentist's office. And then they do a fluoride treatment, which also has a flavor, which is funny too, because so you get fluoride. It's free when you're a kid, and you have to pay $40 for it as an adult. I've found this to be true of a lot of dental stuff. Like orthodontics are a great example as well. If you get braces as a child, usually your dental insurance covers it. But as an adult, they're like, maybe you should have thought of that before you had bad parents. Maybe you should have thought of that before your parents decided to go into the liberal arts. That you might want straight teeth later. Functional teeth. So this time I went, and they have this machine where they scan your teeth. I don't know how to describe it other than it's like a pen thing that they rub over your teeth, and it creates like a 3D image of your teeth. And then they're like, okay, bite down. And they do another scan. And my bite is so bad that the machine like wouldn't accept it. The machine was like, you didn't scan this correctly. Yeah, they were like, please scan with... No, you have to tell him to close his mouth and bite. The machine's like, this does not compute. And so then, she was like, oh, is that your bite? And I was like, yup. So then we talked with the dentist about it. And he was like, okay, well, maybe we should look into some stuff. I had braces. I got them off like 10 years ago. So I'm not real keen on going through that again, but whatever. And also it didn't seem to work long term. And I wear my retainer every night, you guys. Every night. Nerd-tainer. I've missed it maybe twice in my life. That's why I get so much action. Because I'm responsible with my retainer. But, so then, I also went to the doctor, and I'd gotten a sleep study done like maybe 2 years ago, because I breathe really heavy when I'm asleep. And Poonmaster Flex was like, maybe go get this checked out. And I was like, okay. Because, I was like, whatever, if like I should get a CPAP or something. I don't really have a problem with that. So I got it, and the sleep study was like, well, you're fine. But my doctor was like, well, sometimes you get a sleep study done, and it can really address lower respiratory pretty well, but not upper respiratory. So he's like, so actually, what you should do is ask your dentist. And I was like, okay. So I asked my dentist in a very awkward way, because I was like, so here's what I did. And then he said to ask you that maybe, because I was like, I'm not really familiar with your dentist knowing anything about, something you'd ask your doctor about. So I was like asking him in a tentative way, because I felt like he was going to be like, why the fuck would he ask me? And I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of what I thought. But here we are. He's like, well, your teeth, I'm not swallowing my teeth in the night or something. So it didn't make sense to me to ask my dentist, but here we are. But actually he was like, oh yeah, so sometimes they do like a thing you wear at night that kind of adjusts your jaw position or other things. And I was like, okay. So he was like, well, let's do this scan and we can take a look. And the scan came back and he was like, well, immediately I could see the problem here. And he's like, this is your airway, and it shows it in blue, green, yellow, and red, and blue and green are the good colors, and yellow and red are the bad colors. And he's like, ideally, it's blue and green all the way up. You can see that your airway is not. And he's like, it goes red right here. He's like, this is kind of the back of your mouth where your tongue is. And he's like, that's probably why your orthodontist was like, you should have this oral surgery. To go back to that story. So I had my wisdom teeth taken out at an oral surgeon and, was like, hey, they were like, bring in your insurance information because we can kind of give you an estimate on what this oral surgery might cost you out of pocket. And so the lady in the office was looking at it and she's like, well, I've never actually seen this before, but your insurance specifically names this surgery and is like, hell no. Under no circumstances do we cover this. And I was like, okay. And so they were like, I was like, well, what would it cost, to just out of pocket? And they were like $20,000. And I was like, all right, well, that's impossible. So, the oral surgeon's office was funny. They were like, well, you can, well, maybe your orthodontist will get you close, and then that gives you some time. Maybe you can save some money or whatever. And I was like, I'm not an oral surgeon, right? Like, I don't make that kind of money. I don't make oral surgery money. I work at a library. Part of it, though, is there was a guy doing the anesthesia there who knew my dad. And long story short, at one time my dad was an anesthesiologist. And then when I was about 14, he spent the next 15 years mostly incarcerated. Not for doing bad anesthesia. And this guy was saying something about how my dad had bought this sports car and he thought my dad was super cool. Because he had a sports car and this guy was like a young man at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, so maybe he was thinking like, kid's dad's an anesthesiologist, like they can afford an oral surgery or whatever, which would probably be true if that were the case. But I was like, oh, this guy does not know what has happened in the intervening 20 years or so. That has really changed the game for me in terms of spending $20,000 on something. So anyway, the dentist was like, well, your airway is very narrow. And he was like, so here's what we're going to have to do. I'm going to have to talk to so this is the dentist that I see who works in the same office as the, main dentist whose name is on the door or whatever. He was like, I'm going to have to talk to the other dentists. He's like, this is kind of a pretty unusual situation. You've got kind of a lot going on. And this is an all hands on deck situation is what he said. He's like, so I'm going to have to talk to that dentist and get back to you. And I was like, okay. So that was how my dentist trip went. And then the hygienist was being very positive, and she was like, well, you're taking really good care of your teeth. And I was like, thanks. Small comfort, I guess. What could she do? I felt a little bad for her because I was like, well, I guess now she has to spend the next, 20 minutes with me being like, well, he's just gotten a lot of bad news about what the next year of his life might look like. It's always awkward too because the dentists, they don't know how much stuff I've done over the last decade. So they're always trying to explain to me. They're like, I know that this might be okay right now, but when you're looking 10 years down the road, and I'm like, I know, I understand. I've gotten this talk before. So that was my dental adventure. So who knows? Maybe I'll have a new face. Maybe I'll have no face. Who knows? Before I got my braces last time too, it was the first time I had a physical since high school. I was in my mid to late 20s at the time. And I went in and the doctor was like, you're in good health and everything, and seemed kind of surprised that I was there and was sort of asking me why are you here? And I was like, well, I'm getting braces and I wanted to make sure there was not if I came in here and you found a tumor, I'd be like, well, fuck that then. I might be dead in the next year. I ain't getting braces. I'm not going into a coffin with braces on, that's for sure. So I guess, but I know I'm not dying right now. I'm pretty sure. Went to a physical. Moonmaster Flex is giving me a lot of filthy looks. I don't think she likes me discussing my own mortality. Considering that that's possible. Damn it! I watched another video that showed a technique for getting through this stage, which involved getting a leaf and a bell. Okay, so I discovered, well, I didn't discover, I was told by watching a thing about how there's a level where you're on a beach that I beat earlier, and when you're the cat and you do like a butt stomp, you turn into this like golden lucky cat. Now, apparently that can destroy a lot of things, like those swinging spiked bars and stuff. So that can be a way to really help you get through that section. And I liked this idea. The problem is I can't get to that section reliably. Remotely reliably. I think I've done it once so far. And I've spent almost 50 lives already. So... And he's like, well, you can just reload. You save when you've got these items and you reload instead of getting them again, and that saves you time. But I'm like, that's still too slow for me. It's like, maybe if I could get to that, if I was getting to that part every time and then dying, that might be worth looking into. But that is not where I'm at, obviously. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. It was like... There are so many games like that, and they're like, I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. And I'm like, but the thing you don't understand is, in order to do it the easy way, I still have to do a lot of things that are very difficult for me. Because I still have to make it through all of this, plus kill these wizards, just to get to the point at which, it's useful to have the lucky cat. Oh, fuck! Because, yeah, I could easily get it, start here, and then that happens, and I'm like, well, there goes that. Now, it probably would be worth my time to get it to have in the reserve where I've currently got a bell. It's like so hard to tell where those cannonballs are in space for me. Damn it. You can't be right up against the edge, because then you've got no forward momentum when you make that jump. So you, go through this, but then every time you do it, you're like, there's another little thing to remember. It's like, okay, you want to land in the middle of that block. And then it's like, okay, you want to do this, and okay, you want to do that. See, if you run too fast, you don't have enough control, and it's hard to stay on that edge. But if you don't run, if you take the break so you're not running that fast, it takes longer. It's more of a pain in the ass. God damn it. This is the other thing, is you're like, you can lose the, your mushroom power so early. And then you have so much you still have to do before, you're done. And you're like, I have to do all of this small now. This is terrible. So you debate, you're like, should I just die? Like, is it even worth the practice? Because, if I get to the wizards, I'm not going to make it without the mushroom, almost certainly. And even if I did, I'm almost completely certainly not going to make it past the swinging chain bar things without being big. I guess it's better to run into that guy than to do the jumping. don't like that when you're small Mario in this, you don't have a hat. That just feels like a humiliation. Damn it. Maybe I should go at this in 100 life. You know, that's how many attempts I take. Trying to do the spin jump. I haven't mastered that either. Put that on the list of... God damn it. It's gonna be sort of humiliating because, you know, now that I had an even number of lives, I'll know, like, well, I tried this 100 times today. And I know I had close to 100 lives when I started this, if not 100. So it's like, I've probably, you know, I'm probably already pretty close to have tried this 200 times. I haven't even seen the whole thing yet. I'm a ways from success. I just wish they could give me a mushroom at least, you know? That seems like fair. This is a little unfair. Come on! I was right on his back. Oh, you bastard. I think the furthest I've been is somewhere in that swinging chains portion, but I couldn't say for sure. That's probably the smart thing to do, isn't it? Is to stop and not just run through. Fuck. The hell? Did I read the Cool Japan guide? I've read some of it. Master Flex is asking me if I've read a book. Yes. So in Japan, they have bathtubs. You set the temperature of water that's already in there, and then it maintains that temperature. Also, bathtubs in Japan are not as long, but they're deep. So you can be in it basically up to your head or neck or whatever. Yeah, which is how bathtubs should be. And also, yes, having the temperature stay the same in the bath instead of rapidly cooling as it is in baths here makes so much sense. Sometimes I look at things and I'm like, Japan is living in the future. And then sometimes I'm like, they're living in the present. We should, like, there's no reason we can't do that. Fucking A. What I'm gonna do is save this bell until if I can get to the swinging part, and then if I get smallized, then I'll use it. What's funny about this is, like, it doesn't feel good. Because, like, you just make it by the skin of your teeth every time, so you don't, like, feel good about making it. You just feel like... Even when you're succeeding, you feel like you're getting lucky as opposed to succeeding. Damn it! Like, you know, when I don't get hit by this, I just feel like, well, that was fortunate. And when I don't jump off the edge of this corner up here, this one, I'm like, well, that was lucky. When I make it past these guys without getting hit, I'm like, that was lucky. Everything's just luck. I wonder if I ran on the very edge of this. Like this. Okay. Question answered. You didn't hear the whole question. The question was going to be, I wonder if I did this if I would die immediately in a humiliating fashion. The answer was yes. I should, if I ever do finish this, make a video that's like, the easy way to beat Champions Road, and then just narrate the one time that I finish it and be like, no, this is, you know, this is the easy way. And then make it like it's no big deal. And then maybe someone will look at the channel and be like, you played this for like 5 hours and just got lucky one time. The easy way to do it is to play it 1,000 times. That's all I can think of. Which isn't easy, but it's, in my opinion, the easiest way. I mean, I shouldn't even be worried about getting hurt on the football part because I don't make it to the wizards most of the time anyway. It doesn't really matter if I'm big or small. Negative attitude. Yes. Ugh. Of course, the time I say that, I do make it. And you might be saying, Pete, why don't you use a cat there? That would probably help you. I'm like, because I'll die. I need an extra hit for the, well, I need it for the remainder of the stage, I think. I suspect. Ugh. Damn it! I have a spreadsheet where I track like how long these games take on average to finish and so on. And most of the games I've finished faster than, you know, my estimates, with the exception of Sunshine. But this stage is really blowing my estimate for this one, I gotta say. I'm like envisioning this stage taking as long as all the other stages. I got 4,000 points. The other thing is I'm not sure about getting the bell, because if I try to get the bell while I'm on this area, I think I'll just die in an attempt to get it. Come on! This is my least favorite part. The very beginning. It's not the part that I'm struggling with the most. It's the part that I feel is the most unfair. It's the most inconsistent. Like this part, it's kind of like... It's killing me a lot. But if I can do it just right, I will make it. And that's what makes it feel fair. Where this feels like, I don't know. There's like no way to do it quite right. That's kind of bullshit. Damn it. Would be, I think, nice if this stage let you start with items and start with the same items every time, like the mystery house did. I feel like that would be a kindness. And once again, a kindness in this game, I always am like, you know, I know some players would be like, oh, it makes it too easy, but it's a kindness is something you can just choose not to do. You could choose to start this small if you wanted to. If you were like, the challenge is there. And I always think like challenge level should be determined by the player. And I can always make something more challenging, but I can't really make it less challenging. I mean, I think I'm starting to understand how this level is designed that way. Like, I think it's designed so that you can't necessarily count on being able to make it to those disappearing blocks with a raccoon tail. Because if you knew you'd be Tanuki Suit Mario there, it's a lot easier, right? It's easier. Let's say that. But if you can't necessarily make it with that every time, it kind of forces you to play the level as they're like, you're supposed to play this as just fucking Mario. just doing it. Marioing as hard as you can. I'd like to at least make it further than I've made it before, but that doesn't seem very likely. You know, you just want to make like an extra inch or something, because you're like, I made it an extra inch. The next time I can make it an inch, and so on. It's kind of a tough section because you can't really see the hitbox. You know what I mean? You can't see the angle of how close you are. To old Chargin' Charles. How come they didn't call him Chargin' Charles? That would be way better than Chargin' Chuck, and it's like the same thing. I'm dying there a lot. Don't love it. Damn it. I mean, I'm extremely tempted to put together a Champions Road dying supercut. But it'd be like a 4-hour video. Maybe if I didn't do every death, but just the variety of options. Damn it. Again. Did it again. This is reminding me of, because I keep hearing da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. So I listened to the Metallica Blacklist. It's a 4-disc album of Metallica covers of, Metallica being covered by other bands. Specifically of songs from the Black Album, which is cool. But it's like Enter Sandman, I think, is covered 6 times, and Unforgiven's covered 6 times. Those are, I think, the 2 most covered, next to Nothing Else Matters, which is covered 12 times. And the way they set up this album, you hear it 12 times in a row. It's crazy. It's over an hour of Nothing Else Matters, and it spans 2 discs. It starts like at the end of disc 3 and goes into disc 4, and it just feels like like it's never gonna end. And by the time I got to the end of it, I was so sick of Nothing Else Matters. I was like, it was like, you know, I'd never thought of Nothing Else Matters as like, ugh, everyone covers that song. And then now it like occupies that space in my brain forever. Okay, I can do this. But then when I move, it moves the hand. So this is like kind of impossible. Probably not a good way to try and manage that. Okay, this may be the furthest I've been. I wonder how close time-wise this level is to, like, you know. Am I gonna have a time issue at the end if I take it slow like this? Okay, this is the furthest I've ever been. This is pretty exciting. What? Maybe I can just kill these guys and then have an easy time of this. I think they're like limited, or do they just kind of regenerate? Oh, they do not. Ah! Ah! Okay, what is this? Shit. Oh! That's not how I wanted to die on that part. That's kind of a bummer. I used my bell. That was a dumb way to use the bell. I was like, maybe I need it. But then it just got wasted. Now I'm like real boned. It's like whenever I do that, I'm being dangerous. I'm thinking about doing something that I probably should not do. This is like, okay, so I'm like right at the hour mark, and this is kind of what I expected, is like, the hour mark is when you start dying in ways you've not been dying. You know, you start having problems with sections that you've not been having problems with. As kind of how, which is kind of how Nintendo works. Oh, come on. If one were inclined, what you could do is take like a super cut of, you know, playing this stage and be like, see, this is me. I'm very good at Mario. Because, you know, when you pull it off, it looks cool sometimes, but it would have to be a heavily edited supercut that I don't know what the purpose of it would be. When that happens, I'm like, should I even bother? Like, why am I doing this? Why do you struggle? So interesting that Mario's animated So he like even looks at the enemies in this game. So it is a nice little touch. This section I think is so difficult because you have to both be thinking like a couple moves ahead as well as thinking a lot about what you're doing right now. Like you can't afford to not be thinking ahead, but you also can't not be paying attention to where you're at in the moment. I didn't even try that time. I didn't try to save myself once I was doomed. But I mean... Fuck! Improbably enough, I died that way twice now. I wouldn't have thought that possible. I was pretty sure the first time I did it that it was kind of a fluke. Like you want to get the momentum to bounce off the wall, but you can't go too fast because then you'll just hit the edge. Ah! I was like, I'm on top of the pipe, I might as well try to look cool. And then I just absolutely reversed it. I mean, I guess I could do a supercut of my greatest bloopers, you know? There'd be lots to pick from. So many things I don't like about what's happening. Too close to the edge, you just go flying off. It's perfectly designed to give you trouble. See, like, that would be super cut. You're like, look how I bounced off his head and went straight into the pipe. Amazing. Well, I think I'm going to do 100 lives today. I was kind of joking, and then for a while there, I was like, well, maybe that doesn't work because it's taking me a little bit longer to die each time. But I've actually made up a lot of time in terms of spending lives here and dying a lot more quickly. Fucking stupid platform just took me right into that cannonball. Okay. Maybe I need a new game plan here. I was kind of hoping they would run off the edge. Which they do not. So that's kind of a problem. I wonder if I ran straight, if I could then long jump off the last one and just make it over that gap. That doesn't seem impossible. If I just went like... Maybe that's impossible. That might be impossible. They're like, we know how to make it just short enough. Short enough so you think you could do it, but how does he not die? How do I not make it? How does that happen? People ask me, don't you ever get tired of just getting shot 100 times? I'm imagining that, like, you know, I'm putting up videos like 6 months from now and I'm still doing this. That's like what's in my brain. This turns into an epic struggle of man versus Mario. I mean, originally when I started doing Mario before 40, I was like, it's possible that I won't finish like the first game. And I was like, it would be kind of funny to do that, like to not finish the first game and just spend the entire year trying to beat it and not getting close. I was like, that would be pretty funny. As a concept, pretty good. But I did finish the first game. So then that was kind of off the table. So then it becomes a lot less funny, you know. Not finishing the second game. Finishing one game would be okay. But, you know, you kind of want to finish none games or many games. The sort of in-between interstitial situation of none is not as good. But it would be, I guess, I think it would be quite funny to do it here. To just spend a full year here. Trapped in this hell. And I want to play the new games badly. I own them already. I can tell you this right now. Bowser's Fury, the second part of this, not playing to get everything in that. think my new plan is to get rich, become the majority stakeholder at Nintendo, and then re-release this game without this level. Just be like, no. This ends at Mystery Box House now. Any copies that have this game are illegal. Or that have this stage are illegal. I mean, we live in the era of, you know, rich people doing weird stuff like that out of spite. And I want to be part of that action. Who wouldn't? Be like, look, this level humiliated me. Can you give me something or something? Instead of just floating there like a loser? Little help? Ugh. Okay, well that's 101 lives I lost over the last hour and 20 minutes. So that's that. I still want to figure out how to do that on purpose. Okay, well, I'm gonna exit the level. I'm gonna try and see if I can get that magic cat. So at least I can have that in reserve next time, I guess. And I think that's located below here. Also, by the way, at the end of this stage, there is a flag to get that you can get, you know, gold or not. That's going to be the most intense, like, did I get the gold flag or not? But also, if I don't care. It's just not going to happen. Okay, this is the stage where the magic cat is.
Let's go.
I don't really know where. Somewhere. There it is. Okay, so the way this works is, and then you're kind of invincible when you're this cat. So you can actually break those swinging chain bars when you're this guy, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now I'll start here with this power-up set and then immediately change from this to fire and then give it a shot next time. So thanks for watching for another hour and a half of my flailing. We'll see you next time.
Let's go.